When someone goes missing, many people and police bond together, hoping the person will be found alive. Of course, none of us can forget the massive search last summer for Keith Kennedy. He's the man who was lost in the woods of Wisconsin.
So is there a way to spare the agony and the cost of those gut-wrenching searches? Here's Fox 9's Trish Van Pilsen.
Could the answer for countless people who don't understand the dangers of wandering away be this little bracelet worn 24 hours a day? If someone vanishes, time is everything. So I strapped on a bracelet and disappeared to see if it really gives rescuers and families a link to the lost.
When a philosopher once wrote, if a person lost would conclude, after all,
in that direction,
he is not lost,
we are now literally losing our kids.
Anxiety
Horror.
and danger
He was very close to
would vanish.
death.
He might have foretold the stories of 3 families bound together by passion for this little device.
So this stays on now.
One has it,
You know, it's tough.
one wants it,
It's very huge.
one wishes they'd had it 5 months ago
They would have found him that evening for sure.
when their son vanished, which in order to test the device, I am about to do.
So this is a waterproof transmitter.
They call it a tracer bracelet.
Transmitting a pulse once a second.
New Brighton police and fire and volunteers
All right, what we have here
will help us simulate a
is
search.
the Project Lifesaver Locator Systems receiver.
New Brighton is one of 6 cities or counties with similar technology.
The louder and clearer we hear that chirp, the closer we know we are to the client.
Today,
Okay.
I am the client.
How long do you think it'll take to find me?
The national average is under. We should have no problem,
Okay.
in theory. It depends on how sneaky you are.
Okay. Well, I've been known to
have to
be
look-
sneaky.
And that's okay, because the clients are sneaky. That is their nature. Alzheimer's patients, they're on a mission impossible to escape from where they're being held captive to get back to where they really used to live, used to work, used to go to school.
People with dementia or people with autism are drawn toward the water. So the first place I'm wandering is through this park where there's a large pond.
My mission is to return to a place familiar to me.
I actually have a destination in mind. So I'm headed to a place I used to call the Salvation Army Camp. Good luck. Thanks.
I will wander nearly 2 miles.
Hey, you have a guest.
It's a good time to meet the first of our 3 families. To begin with, like the others, they have a child with a disorder that is becoming so common,
Autism.
even young siblings are fluent in its vocabulary.
It's a neurological brain disorder.
Do you want to swing by yourself?
Reese Trans World is spun with safety webbing. Guards come in all shapes and sizes.
When I'm playing my games, I sometimes just feel like I need to go down because he sometimes like wanders, and I'm like, oh my God, this is all my fault because he's gone.
But Reese's world, for all its webbing, is also lined with danger. His quiet neighborhood surrounded by fields and woods and water.
A lot of our kids with autism individuals love water, but they don't realize it's a death trap.
I don't want him to run away or like get dead or get pricklies in his foot.
I got you.
And they got Reese another strand of protection, the so-called tracer bracelet.
That's good.
2 things convinced Reese's parents to try to get the bracelet in the hands of other families.
But when I saw this firsthand,
First, the time Brad helped search for a lost autistic boy who was found dead.
and I vowed that I never again want to see another mom and dad have to kiss their son's casket knowing they're never going to hold him in his arms ever again.
And second, his conviction that the bracelet works.
All right, we have a missing woman.
Which brings us back
Her name is Trish Van Pilsen.
to our test.
Last seen wearing a red hooded sweatshirt and blue jeans. We will deploy in 4 groups.
It's pretty thickly wooded back here.
No signal yet. We have to go to the last known location.
I think this is a pretty good hiding spot.
You get a signal,
The search starts
don't leave that position.
back at the
I'm
playground
not getting any chirps.
where I was last seen.
I'm not getting anything.
We'll try that again.
Drive along the east side of Hampton Park.
How many leaves does poison ivy have?
Yeah, she could be a long ways from here.
We're a little further away, I think, than they usually test.
Still nothing.
I'm just thinking about how thirsty I am. Actually, I'm really thirsty, and hoping that they get here before.
The idea that someone can simply vanish is a real one to the Lidas.
Hold on.
With 2 children with autism, you would think that on a playground with soft equipment and a tall fence, you could maybe let your guard down just a little.
No, come here.
But an open gate
She had that glint in her eye like I can get out of here and I will.
is an invitation. At least that's how Clara sees it. And why not?
Sometimes she thinks it's a game and she'll out into the street or run out. Clara, you're staying here, kiddo.
3-year-old Rowans escaped the fenced yard at home, too. Cold doesn't bother them.
Kick your legs out.
Traffic wouldn't stop them.
I have visions of, I have visions of it and it's just, it's not good.
Which is why they want a tracer bracelet, too.
Come here.
It's not something they can go out and get on their own. The county where they live has to agree to take on the whole program.
I'm sure.
In their case, it's right. The program, Project Lifesaver.
Something you hope you never need to use, but I mean, if you even use it once, it's paid for itself.
Which no one knows better than Bruce and Linda Kennedy.
So yes, it would have made a big difference.
Finding their grown autistic son, Keith.
I still can't get over what a miracle the whole thing was. The 7th day, the last hour of the search.
After he nearly died in the Wisconsin woods after walking away from summer camp.
It went from the most awful hell on earth to the most joyous, wonderful experience in a week's time.
For them,
We've got Chirp.
My Trek is more than a mere test of a device,
Which direction is it?
but a window
We're at Wexford Heights and Wexford Heights Lane.
into what might have been.
Copy advisory of your direction. Other units start heading to that area.
And I assume once they lock in on that initial signal, it'll be quick.
Copy. We're getting from the southwest at this point.
Straight that way.
In fact, within minutes,
I think they're closing in.
they have formed a triangle around my hiding spot
I can't believe how fast.
and are moving in quickly.
There they are.
Hello?
Chief 1, we are out with the victim.
They've got her.
Yeah, 25 minutes from the starting point. We're happy with that.
25 minutes.
We need to do this.
It is a breathtaking number for the Kennedys.
Well, it would have prevented a lot of heartache, a lot of grunt work, a lot of hard labor, a lot of money. He wouldn't have been as ill as he was.
Because here's the thing, for all his wandering, Keith Kennedy probably was never out of tracer detection range had he been wearing the bracelet.
Ultimately, he was only about 3/4 of a mile from the campground as the crow flies. So,
and thousands of people were looking for him.
Yeah.
And couldn't find him. I'm wow, I'm speechless. Just the thought of, though, having something like that for him and for other vulnerable people.
Because, in fact, it is true that when a person once lost,
Are they good, Chief?
no longer fear and danger vanish.
This particular bracelet is part of a program called Project Lifesaver, but there are other programs available to Minnesota counties and cities. The cost can vary. Families usually pay only a small part of the total expense, depending on what they can afford. I'm Trish Van Pilsum.
And we know many of you probably have some questions about whether this program will work for your family. We have Bob Parrott, who's a volunteer with New Brighton Police, ready for a live chat. All you have to do is log on to myfox9.com and click on the yellow bar to participate. We also have a number of links with more information as well. You can find all of it on our website by clicking on Investigators.
You know, technology sometimes, we wait for it forever, and then something like this comes along.
Yeah.
What a piece of hope for all of those families out there dealing with something like
It
this.
can help us have a lot more happy ending on the stories that we report too, so
That
that's
too.
a plus as well.
Hopefully everybody gets on the questions answered that they need.